to 15 to 16. Aha! To 17. I know you're in here somewhere.
Alright, so what do you say we kick it off with Brawl, because you always want to put your best foot forward. Honestly though, of the three so far, I think he's my favourite. And whilst, you know, he is a Voyager, so you do expect more from a Voyager, he really delivers. He doesn't just feel like a slightly beefier deluxe with more accessories. He feels really solid. The sculpt is deep, the surface detailing is awesome, and I say all this having never really particularly been a fan of Brawl. He's kind of always to me been a little bit of a background Decepticon, you know what I mean? Like his characterization, oh, he's the angry one, always ready to fight. How unusual for Decepticon. I almost feel like that's why his mug is painted like this. Like he knows. His aggression is born of insecurities. Why else would you do your mug like that? But I gotta say, it's working. His articulation is also pretty wild. That head is on a ball joint, arms go all the way around, 90 up at the shoulder, and butterfly forward for muscle man poses.
My mom!
About a 90 out of the elbow, nothing out of the hand, but the hand is painted and sculpted really nicely. It's hard to be mad at it. He's just rocking some camo fingerless gloves. Waist swivel, which makes me so happy to see, because there was the fear that they'd be a little more locked in like the Constructicons were. Universal, thigh swivel, up high, 90 out of that knee, bit of forward on the toe, and maybe the most extreme broken bones ankle tilt I've ever seen.
I think my legs might be broken, but I'll try to stand up. Oh! Yes, they are broken.
So despite he himself being a weapon, for a guy named Brawl, he's certainly bringing some heavy artillery with him. You've got his little handgun, which has a bizarrely long and thin barrel. It feels very sharpshootery, like he's just firing from the hip. We also get these two price point justifying behemoths, which integrate interestingly. These weapons can store up underneath his backpacker, giving him an unholy trinity of firepower, and then you just quick switch it around. Now, is that severely limiting your peripheral vision? Sure. But once again, he's making it pretty hard to forget him. All in all, it makes him a pretty impressive figure. So he can throw all kinds of real mean shapes. Like, this is a good figure in its own right. Never mind the fact that he's part of a combiner team. I suppose this is the advantage of the skeleton system. It gives you much more freedom with the mechanisms needed to combine. And Master Chief here is a fantastic example. Then we get to the Flyboys. These two still have their charms, but Brawl most assuredly benefits from being at a higher price point. These two are much more like what we've seen from the other Scramble City-esque combiner limbs. These guys feel like Superion's limbs. Vortex more so than Blastoff. I feel like less sacrifices were made for Blastoff, but then he does have the advantage of just kind of turning into a tube. And even with the benefit of a cylindrical alt mode like that, he still has weird hands, man. They're embedded in these nubbins. The only way I can make it make sense in my own mind is if they're cool like, you know, Tesla punches. Zap, zap. Like it's something he's decided to do as an affectation to distract everyone from how weird his feet are. Those feet must trigger tryptophobia in his enemies. But anyway, ball jointed head, universal shoulders, go all the way around up to a 90, bicep swivel, a 90 out of that Popeye inspired forearm, and wrist swivel for his nubbins. Waist swivel, universal at the hip, thigh swivel, a 90 out of that knee, surprisingly, but he is sitting on his own leg at that point. Bit of up and down on his exhaust hoof, and then very generous ankle tilts. He's really crisp. His color palette is muted, but understated in its nuance with those rich browns and that deep charcoaly grey offset against such a nice Decepticon purple. Then when you got that hot pink Deceptor badge mirrored on your Naruto style headband, he has a great hand feel and just enough going on articulation wise that you can get some great looking shapes from him. By way of accessories, he comes with these open carry wrist cuffed pistols. They don't have very long handles, but they do help create more of a sense that his nubbins are hands. Once you see the oven mitts holding something, you're like, alright, I guess you're not completely useless. I do feel like it would make more sense for him to have some kind of hectic rifle. and be sniping on re-entry. Then we get to Vortex. So helicopters tend to be a little bit of a mess at the best of times. Rotors get in the way, there's often some kibble, but a helicopter that also then needs to turn into a limb adds an extra degree of difficulty. So I am a little bit forgiving. These pieces, just hanging there, is like a little bit of a nightmare. It irks me out to no end. I guess you can kind of have him half forward, so his hands are out, but they don't really want to stay there, nor do they stay there with his cool wrist guns and his scoped pistol. I guess he's the crew sharpshooter, but they do get in the way. So his arms can go all the way around, but you know, watch for the rotors. Universally shoulder, bicep swivel, impeded by all manner of kibbly kibble. It makes my skin itch just thinking about how restricted this movement would be. You get a 90, no hand articulation though, because it's kind of weirdly sort of half a hand. He's only got 3 fingers. Somehow I bet it was Brawl's fault. He also has a waist swivel, universal at the hips, thigh swivel, 90 knee, but he still looks good. Low-key cosplaying as Rumble and or Frenzy, depending on which school of thought you subscribe to. Of the 3 so far, he is decidedly less fun to just fiddle around with, and he is that much harder to get into good poses. But he's got an amazingly crisp head sculpt, and I'm pretty confident that the cheerleader effect is going to carry him through. And here we have the squad so far all together. I must say, like, the whole Combaticon unified military operation thing is really enhanced by the fact that whilst they have their own individual head sculpts, they're all rocking faceplate and, you know, visors or fat goggles. It really leans into the whole tactical combat vibe that they're throwing down. And by way of a comparison, here they are with the bot responsible for their rebirth on Earth. Man, these guys really went through it, didn't they? Vibing, conniving, sniveling, cowering, lobotomizing. Now, with that out of the way, let's do that transformation thing, shall we? Twist, up, around, down, back, collapse, close, down, together, closed, down, out, up, base shuttle, around, up, out, twist, collapse, down, click, collapse, click, closed, twist, turn, extend, close and port and tab, plug, helicopter, up, extend, out, down, away, closed, pivot, up, around, unclip, lift, drop, unfurl, extend, twist, collapse, click, tab, port, tab, secure, clip, tank. So I think on the whole, people are going to be pretty happy with these guys in vehicle mode. I mean, obviously they don't scale the way the actual vehicles would, but that's always been the G1 Combiner's problem. I think we've all made our peace with it, have we not? The space shuttle looks space shuttle-y. The helicopter looks very helicopter-y. I think the real winner here, though, is Brawl. I'm not a big military hardware aficionado, but I know all the people who are going to be stoked that this tank turret actually rotates from the center of the turret like it should, and his cannon moves like a tank cannon does. It seems a small thing, but I know it matters. The gimmick of this team as well also lets them be much more varied in their ult modes, and so they feel more fun. Menasau's just cars, Superion's just planes. Also, I am well aware how important it is to some people that these guys are able to scramble city, scramble city, y'all. So you'll be pleased to know, to some extent, it can be done. It seems like these guys can actually wear each other's shirts and boots. Now you know.
Now I know. And knowing is half the battle.
When it comes to Brawl, I think his foot's gonna look something like this. This seems like where the tabs and ports lead you. And I know some of y'all have seen online. It's kind of hard to say, but I've only used this articulation just now, and already we can see we're starting to get some stress lines in there, which is not ideal, to say the least. And that's that. That's about as deep as we can get at this point in time until we get a couple more Combaticons to fill out our platoon of pain. What do you all think? I think these guys are rocking a little bit harder than some of the other sets we've gotten so far. Primarily, this has just served to make me super excited to get Onslaught and Swindle. Side note, for me, Swindle always sounds like Fred Willard. Amazing Transformers animated casting. So what do we think? Have you managed to pick up any of them other than Vortex yet? Are you going to get them? Do you like them? Are you happy with your Combiner Wars set? I want to know. Hit me up in the comments. Let's get into it. Let's get nerdy with it, as the kids say. I know I haven't been posting as much lately because, the passage of time is a cruel mistress.
Behold,
called The Ravages of Age.
But hopefully you had a good time. If you're new to the channel and this is the first time you've, seen my shtick, like and subscribe if you had a good time. If you already have, welcome back. Way to go, you little legend. So until the next one, let's get nerdy with it. Catch.